continue to rest in peace. Very, very powerful tune and very powerful musician right there. So let's get into what we have to do today. Now, as the year draws to a close, many business owners are actually taking a hard look at how the year went, what worked, what didn't, and what needs to change. Now, for small businesses, especially surviving and growing, isn't always about big ideas or massive capital. One thing I've realized is that it often comes down to the small everyday habits that we practice, and everybody wants to grow. So this morning we're having a practical conversation titled "From Idea to Income: How to Turn a Small Business into Something That Lasts." And we're breaking down into simple actions: managing cash flow, pricing properly, keeping records, and planning ahead. The habits that actually help small businesses stay afloat and profitable, also prepared for the future. And that's what we're talking about. I'm joined by two individuals now. I have in studio Emmanuel Jariaje, and he's a general manager at Hipro Marketing, and also Siami. He's the CEO of Siami, I think, Fashion or so. Emmanuel, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Nee.
How are you doing?
I'm very well. How about you?
Good too. Yeah, I'm doing well too, by God's grace. And Merry Christmas to you.
Yeah, Merry Christmas to you too.
Right. Okay, great. So let me bring Siami. Good morning. How are you?
Hi, good morning.
Hello. Hello, Siami. Can you hear me?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. How are you doing?
I'm good. Yourself? How is your morning as well?
Yeah, I'm doing well. My morning is going just fine. Well, thanks so much for making time to join us for this conversation today. Let me start in studio with you, Emmanuel. So, I mean, one of the things that I've realized about businesses is that most of the times the problems are not about capital and all of that. It's just the basic things that we don't quite do. Do you agree with that assertion?
Yeah, you are right. You're right. That's very right. You find that a lot of times business owners neglect the proper operation of the business, focusing rather on things that don't really pan out properly and well in the long term. For instance, a business owner may be there and then mixing personal funds with company funds. Whenever he feels like, or he or she feels like he needs money to do something, he just goes into the business funds, takes the money to run his own personal to spend personally. In the long term, what's going to affect your business, because when you need to expand or when you need to get some resources, you may not have the funds to get the resources that could take you to the next level of your business. So yes, these are some of the things that I just mentioned. These are some of the things that businesses do that affect them negatively in the long term.
Right. See, I mean, you are on the field as a business owner.
Yeah.
Is that something that you see as also a problem?
Say that again.
I'm asking if that is what you also see as a problem.
Yeah, it's a big problem because sometimes you feel like this is my business, and so you mix the business money with your personal income. By so doing, you don't even know, you are not able to track the income you have made from what is yours and what is not yours, and then you just mismanage everything. So it's a serious situation.
Did you experience that challenge in building your organization?
Yes, sure, I did.
Tell us about it. Hello?
Yeah, hello?
Yeah, tell us about it.
So I started a business without really thinking of the cash flow, how to manage the business. All I know is I'm starting a business. So at the end of the day, I had only one account, and then I felt, oh, this is my business. So whenever I was not paying myself, another thing, as a business owner, you have to be able to pay yourself an amount so that you don't just enter into the business money anyhow. So that was what happened to me at the initial stages, where I just use any money, I feel it's fine. But at the end of the day, I'm not able to get track of what exactly is mine and what is exactly for the business. So it's just spending money anytime I make any money at all. Yeah.
I see. Emmanuel, I see you nodding. Is that something that you also see amongst people.
Oh yes,
business people.
I mean, yes. I mean, we all had to learn. Myself, I experienced same. We all had to learn along the way. Even though I caught myself early, you know. So when you start a business, one of the first things you should do, set up a business account. Even if there's no money in it at all, just set up a business account because eventually you're going to make money. You don't want to mix business funds with your personal funds. So, and I see a lot of business people do that a lot. For instance, someone runs a business and the Momo account for collecting sales online is their personal Momo account. No, you should have a business Momo account, mobile money account for collecting Momo payments for your business. You shouldn't mix that with your funds because when that happens, it's very tricky. You will see the money there today. You go to town and come, the money is gone. You look for it, you won't find it, but you spend the money. You know, but if you have a separate account, okay, this is not for my personal use. This is a business Momo account. I can't take money from this business Momo account. So yes, I can also relate to that.
But what is the effect really of actually putting all the funds together?
So as she mentioned, it creates confusion. You don't know which one belongs to you personally and which one belongs to your company. So as she said earlier, I agree with her. You create a business account and then you pay yourself. So you are the same person running the business, all right, but you have an account for your business, and then at the end of each month you pay yourself. So you transfer that funds from the business account to your personal account so that you know, okay, fine, at the end of this month, maybe I pay myself 5,000 cedis. This is how much I have to spend. I cannot go beyond that 5,000 cedis. So when you're budgeting, when you're drawing up your own personal budget, you know you have to stay within 5,000 cedis. You don't say, okay, I have 100,000 cedis in my business account, so even if I want to spend more than 5,000 cedis, I can go ahead and do that. No. If you do that, you may not realize it. The first month, you're going to spend 7,000. That's 2,000 off. The next month, about 8,000. The next month, 10,000. By the time the year is due, if you combine the amount you might have spent within that 12 months, maybe you spent over about 30,000, right?
Yeah.
Forgetting that you have to pay contractors, you have to pay suppliers. If you are selling a product, packaging, logistics, transportation, and all of that. Forget all of that. So you realize that when you get to the end of the year, there's no funds to take you through the next year.
Yeah.
Now you are back to square one again, where you have to hustle and think through, how do I get money to carry my business through the next year?
Right.
That is where you see people hiking up their prices unnecessarily, forgetting that when you do that too, you're affecting how the customers perceive you and your competitiveness in the market.
The market.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So we can hold on to that one, mixing personal funds and with the business funds. That is one of the problems. Which other problems or habits actually make it difficult for business to be able to stay afloat?
So staying afloat, you see, when you run a business, you are not an island. Everything that you do affects your business, affects you personally, and affects your customers. It even affects the country. So the habits that help businesses stay afloat, number one, being able to track records. And records is not only about financial records, right? You have to know the resources available to you for running your business. And as marketers, I'll touch on 5 common resources. So we have the money, we have the machine, we have the man. That is the human capital that you have.
Right.
Money, machine, man. I've forgotten that too. Right. But let me talk about these ones. So you see, that means that you have to be able to track how well your money, the funds that you have, or the funds you had during the year has been able to perform for you, right? Was the funds that you were able to generate during the year, was it enough for you to run the business? Is the funds that you have available right now enough for you to be able to expand into the next year? If you want to expand during the next year, can you do that? Also, you have to look at the people that you're working with. That means that you have to have a system in place to actually assess your employees. If you have employees, you have to be able to assess them and determine which of them were performing well, which actions they performed that helped the business, and which ones didn't help the business. You know, you have to look at your if you use equipment, right? Yeah. Maybe you run a company and for instance, a studio like this, there is a reason why you are using this particular monitor, right? Yeah. This particular computer, because maybe it's reliable. You don't want to have an in-studio session with an interviewer and then your PC is misbehaving. You understand?
That's true.
So you have to assess all of those things and determine what did I do within the year regarding my machines, and which machines were giving me problems. How can I improve upon that? So you have to have, in a sense, you have to have a system to be able to assess all the important resources available to you in running your business, so that at the end of the year, you can determine where you fell short. When you are able to determine where you fell short, then it then helps you to actually plan and strategize ahead, to see how you can avoid those shortfalls and then improve your performance in the following year. So some habits are, of course, keeping track of things like this, your resources, being able to manage your funds properly, and then also being able to manage your people properly, and being able to strategize properly. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Siami, are there any things you'd want to add to that? I think Emmanuel flipped the question. So I was asking of the things that makes it difficult to stay afloat, but I think you've answered what makes them stay afloat instead. So that's okay. Actually good. So Siami, what do you have to add to that?
I think he actually mentioned everything, but I'll add sometimes to stay afloat, you have to have a proper planning, and then you have to save every little money daily, tracking sales, and you have to control gradually how to build capital. Because sometimes if you don't do all these things, you end up just running something that I don't even know if I should call it a business. But if you need to, how do I say this? Save every little money that you make for the business, and you also have to track sales. If you don't do this, you don't track sales and all of these things, you will not end up running a business properly. So, and you won't be able to stay afloat with that.
Right. Okay. I think I get it. But why do you think the end of the year is a good time, or is the best time to actually review your finances as a business?
Is that to me?
Yes.
Okay. So I think December is time to okay, I think December is a good time because it helps you to plan ahead, and also it also helps you to know the profits you have incurred, what you have done wrong and what you have done right, and what you're supposed to take out next year. Maybe there were some decisions you made throughout the year. You have to reflect on it. Maybe you bought, as a designer, maybe I bought some fabrics this year that didn't really make sense for me. Maybe I made a collection that didn't really sell for me. So at the end of the day, I take track of all these things and I put all of them in record so that I am able to plan for next year and not to repeat the same mistake this year. So that's why December is always a good time, since the year is ending. In January, it's not so busy. So you use this time in January to put all these plans together. Yeah.
Okay. So it's a good time. I think Emmanuel has something to add to that.
Right. So for entrepreneurs and for business owners, I would say that I have an analogy.
Okay.
You know, the end of the year is like when you are done cooking, right? The end of the year is like when you're done cooking. When you're done cooking, you get to realize whether there was enough salt, there was enough pepper, whether the oil was too much, whether even the food you prepared is going to be enough for you to sustain you through the day, right? It's just like that when you're running the business.
Okay.
Now, when you're cooking, maybe let's just pick one common food, right? And one more, or let's say even tea. Let me use tea.
Okay.
So you want to prepare tea. You have your tea
bag.
Your tea bag. You have your water. You have sugar, right? Maybe you may have milk. Depending on your preference, you may decide to go with almond milk or cow milk or any other milk, soy milk, whatever, you know. So when you're preparing the tea, you pour the water. Maybe you heat the water. You dip your tea bag in it, right? You choose your brand of tea bag that you want to use. You choose your preferred sweetener, whether it's going to be sugar, whether it's going to be honey or syrup or something. And then you add your milk, whether it's going to be almond milk or whatever. When you are done, you then get to taste it. When you are tasting, that's the end of year.
Right.
So when you taste and it's too hot, right? That means you have to add a little bit cold water to make it a little bit cooler.
Yeah.
If the sugar is too much, maybe you have to correct it. If the sugar is too little, maybe you have to add a little bit more.
Right.
If the milk, so you know, that is when you get to assess.
Okay.
Assess everything that you've done throughout the year and determine, was I able to meet my target? So that should tell us that every year begins with certain targets, right?
Right.
So at the end of the year, that's when you get to assess your business based on the things I mentioned earlier. There are so many other things. There are so many other models to help you assess your business, but I think for starting very small business owners and entrepreneurs, being able to assess at least your internal resources. So as I mentioned earlier, the people you work, if you have employees, the materials you use for doing your business, the machines that you use for your business, the funds that you have available to you, and then your methods. That's the processes. Do you have processes in place to ensure that your business runs smoothly? So you assess. That is when you assess your processes and determine that this process that I had in place, did it help me? Did it help me achieve my target? How did it hinder my progress? Right. This means that you should have a system in place to collect data.
Right.
You understand? So just like how you're preparing the tea, the system you have in place to collect data is maybe your cup, your spoon to mix, and then your tongue to taste.
Okay.
The same thing in businesses. You have to have a system in place to collect data. So for instance, when you're dealing with customers after sales, after you have sold to them, do you have something in place where you can get their feedback, right? If you have employees, do you have a system in place where you are assessing them maybe on a monthly basis or something? If you have use some particular materials, how are customers responding? For instance, if you're a fashion designer and you put out some designs and then you should be able to get how people think about your products.
Yeah.
That will actually help you to, at the end of the year, look at all the data that you have collected, assess it. It will help you identify the pitfalls that you had within the year. Then you can then strategize on how you can remove those pitfalls for business growth in the next year. So that's why the end of year is so important for business owners.
Right. Excellent submission there by Emmanuel Jare. Thank you very much for that. Okay, so exactly 29 minutes after 9, sorry. And this is a business breakfast on Z101.9 FM. If you just tuned in, this morning we're talking about how to turn your ideas or your small business into something that actually lasts. And we're looking at the basic habits that a lot of businesses actually ignore. As we're wrapping up the year, I know a lot of businesses are doing some calculations and trying to see how things went for them this year. And that's why we're having this conversation, so that you can actually position yourself better in the coming year and you do things differently. Because of course, if you don't do things differently, there's no way you're going to see different results. And that's why we're having this conversation. You can join us on 0544321019, 0544321019. We're streaming live on Facebook at ZFMGH and also on YouTube at Z Multimedia. You can engage us on those platforms as well, and I'll read your messages for you this morning. Well, let's continue the conversation. So I know that proper cash flow management is one of the major things when it comes to how businesses are able to stay around for a very long time. I want you to tell me, how does that actually work?
Proper cash flow management. So you see, there are whenever you start a business, I want to tell entrepreneurs out there, don't be scared to engage the services of professionals. Getting a professional accountant to help you through your business.
Right.
It's very important, because you might think, oh, I'm just collecting sales and I'm keeping this here, and so I can see my cash flow, I can see the amount that's coming in, and I can see how much is going out. Trust me, there are so many ways to help you save money. And you see, when it comes to running a business, you can make money through a number of ways. That is selling more, pricing higher, or cutting cost.
Repeat that.
If you want to make money as a business owner, you either sell more of one product,
right,
or you sell the same quantity of products you've been selling but at a higher price,
okay,
or you cut cost.
Right.
These are all ways of making money as a business. And one way that is very easy, because you cannot force customers to buy more. You cannot force customers to buy at a higher price, but you can manage your business in a way where you are cutting cost, right? And how do you do that if you don't know how to do it? It takes an expert to be able to help you through. So if you have a financial, let me see, if at least you get a financial, get an accountant to help you to structure your finances within your business and plan it properly, so that you are able to cut costs on certain things that you shouldn't be spending money on. So your question again.
Proper cash management.
Proper cash flow management. So you see, I've just mentioned one, proper cash flow management, where you are cutting costs, right? Aside that, make sure you keep records of every expenditure and every cash inflow. So if you are selling products, make sure that you are recording all the sales that are coming in. If you are providing a service, make sure that every contract that you sign, you have records of it. Every invoice that is paid, you have records of it. You don't mix your personal funds with the company's funds. And then what else can I add? That's basically, don't mix income, your personal funds with company funds. Monitor and monitor your cash inflows and then your expenditure. Have records, proper records, keep proper records, and get an expert to actually help you. You can't do everything by yourself.
Yes. Right. I was actually going to come to record keeping. It's good that you mentioned it, but let me come to Siami. Now, see, you have been running. How long have you been running your business?
Like about 7-8 years now.
Okay, so it means that you've been able to move through the processes, and I'd like you to give us a practical aspect of all of this. How have you been managing your cash flow? Emmanuel is advising, or you do it yourself?
So
Cash flow management is improper. I get the point you're making.
So let me come in.
And I think that's very, very important. So Siami says that you can actually do it yourself. I mean, she does it herself. Emmanuel says that you can also employ the service of somebody who is an accountant. If you don't even get, I think that if you don't even get a professional accountant, there are some students that are on our campuses today reading accounting and all of that who are good. If your business is not too big and you may want to employ their services, I think that is something that you can also explore. Emmanuel, I think you have something to say.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, it's absolutely right. You can do most of the things yourself, but I'll still like to advise business owners, please. There's a reason why they are experts at what they do, right? Even if you don't have the funds to pay an accountant or have an in-house accountant, right? at least at the end of the year, take your books, right, and give it to an accountant to just audit it for you and show you where you are going wrong. They may be even able to advise you on things that you have never thought of before. You know, I was in her position some time back, you know, where I thought I could do everything by myself. But the moment I involved accountants, I realized that, oh wow, you know, that is why I always advocate that, look, get the experts to do certain things for you. Maybe when you're starting out, fine, it's fine. You can do it yourself, run everything by yourself.
Yeah.
But if you really want to expand and go into a bigger company, now start looking at involving experts in every aspect. If you know you are not an expert in that field, don't worry your head trying to do it yourself. It doesn't matter the software is available, the resources online available. Still, if you get an expert, it will help you. You avoid so many pitfalls, you know. So if you don't have the funds, just budget. So when you are drawing your budget for the year, budget end of year audit.
Okay.
Put some money aside. It's going to be expensive, but it's going to be worth it. You know. So that's for those who don't have the financial muscle to be able to bring on an in-house accountant. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you earlier on you mentioned pricing as one of the ways you can make a lot more money. It's either you're increasing the price or not. Tell me why pricing the products and services correctly is very important for small businesses.
Thank you. So, you know, Ghanaians, we are very price sensitive, right? But there's one thing that nobody talks about. I want to talk about that, which is value. Price is very different from value. You see this phone. This is an iPhone, right? Someone is willing to buy an iPhone at a very expensive price, but may not be willing to buy another phone brand at the same price, just because the perceived value attached to the iPhone is greater than the perceived value attached to that other brand of phone. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So when you're a business owner, you need to understand what your customers value, not just about price. You know, I mentioned that you can either sell more of what you are selling to more customers, or you can sell to the same customers at a higher price.
Yeah.
Whether or not you'll be able to get more customers and whether or not you'll be able to sell to the same customers at a higher price depends on the perceived value of the product.
Okay.
You know, so let me use a typical example I think we can all relate to. You see, whenever people start food businesses, right? Let's say you prepare wache to sell or jollof to sell. Usually, I don't know if you can relate to what I'm about to say. Usually, when a new food joint opens up in your neighborhood, you go and try it. Charlie, the food is on point. Aside that, the quantity is very appreciable. What's the weight?
Yeah.
Over time, you realize that the rate reduces.
Yes.
Over time, you realize that the taste is changing. What a lot of business owners who sell food fail to realize is that when I come to your business establishment the first time I come to your business, the first time I buy your food, whatever you give me is a promise you have made.
Okay.
That is the perceived value I attach to your business. The moment you change it, I can't trust you anymore. And trust is extremely important in business.
Right.
So you will see that it's not just the price. I may come to your place, I may spend, let's say, 50 cedis to get the food. And at that time that I spent 50 cedis, the taste was on point. I like the protein you added was good. It was big. The food, it filled my belly. I was satisfied, right? Yeah. Then about 2 months down the line, I come there and I spend 50 cedis, and now the food I'm getting, the taste is bad.
It's not the same.
The meat is some small meat, and then even I cannot fill my belly. You know, you may think that maybe by reducing the price, by reducing the quantity they are selling at, you are going to make more profits. But when you do that, you have broken your promise to me. Now I know that, okay, fine. This is what made you competitive. Right?
Yeah.
You don't have that competitive advantage anymore. So now if there's any other competing food vendor, I may be tempted to go there. Against, as compared to, I may be tempted to go there more often than I would come to your place, you know. So value ties in with price, and value is very subjective.
Yeah.
What is valuable to someone may not be valuable to the other person, right? Now, bringing that to pricing, it is extremely important. You know, I mentioned competitiveness.
Yeah.
Because as a business owner, the business terrain is very, very competitive. There are some industries that are extremely competitive, you know. So if you are in that industry and then your price is not what the customer is willing to pay, then you are just tickling yourself and laughing, because you always you see, as business, you always get some customers who are willing to pay.
True.
I mentioned value is very subjective, right? So you always get some customers who are willing to pay how much you are charging. But if you really want to grow and expand, you need to understand what, if the market you want to enter into responds to, then price properly to fit that market.
Yeah.
Don't just look at this is the price of my product. Look at the value.
Okay.
Right. For instance, going back to the food seller, the food vendor who started very well, and then along the line the food became subpar. If she's able to do some research, if she's able to ask her customers and talk to them and ask, oh, why did you start coming to my place? And when you came to the first day that you came to my place, what kept you coming back? She will realize that, if it was because your food was good and it was because the quantity was good, that's why I kept coming back. But most business owners don't do that. They don't go back to their customers to understand why the customers perform specific actions. If you want customers to perform an action, you have to engineer that.
Right.
If you don't engineer, you just leave it to customers to decide. You realize that I feel as if my conversation is going to other related things, but let me bring it back to pricing.
Right.
So pricing is extremely important because customers are price sensitive, and price is part of the consideration that customers make in choosing your brand or another brand. So you have to understand what price range customers are willing to pay. You do that by understanding the kind of customers you are trying to sell to. For if you are selling a car, that is why you don't see the car companies, they don't open showrooms at, let me say, quote unquote, deprived, financially deprived communities. You see all the car companies opening showrooms in Spintex, East Legon.
Yeah.
You don't see them in places like, let's say, Agbogbloshie. No car company will go. You understand? So you need to understand the customers you are trying to reach, the customers you are trying to sell to, and price to fit their spending power.
One thing that I've also noticed is that sometimes the businesses themselves actually try to look at how much other people are charging.
Yes.
And they price based on that. I know that's also a problem because sometimes, what you putting coming up with your product is much more than the market's regular market price. And because of that, if you sell like that, you're going to run at a loss, isn't it? Let me come to Siami and let me hear how she does her pricing. Siami, tell us how you do your pricing.
I'm just citing an example. I had the 70 cities. I used 2 yards. Let me think. So I want to think of it as a Chinese business. So right now, I'm having a Chinese mentality right now. We ought to have a Chinese mentality whenever we are priced. When you sell 1,000 pieces, 200 cities or 50 cities on each, you have made a lot of profit, right? Yeah. But then you have to make sure that you calculate your inputs, your investments. You have to be able to calculate how much you buy the fabric, how much the production cost. You calculate all these things, take them out, then you add your profit. Am I making profits after doing all this? Then you know that, okay, then I can price it this way. Then people will buy more. So when I started this new brand called Siami, not Siami, Siami is called Akundo, I realized that when I price the things that almost everybody can, making more sales, but I am making my profit as well. The profit margin may not be so high And then you also have to consider the quality of the product as well. So the fact that you are making it, not to say cheap, affordable, but affordable, mean you should compromise on the thing you use. Just make sure, like I said, I'm using this mentality. Imagine that Chinese will sell 10 cedis, but he's expecting to sell home. Something that Chinese at 10 cedis, you come to Ghana to be sold at like this. But the Chinese, and that 1,000 cedis, will be able to buy one. You understand? But then, not that thing like this, you buy more, you end up making it, but the quality is
right.
You understand?
Yeah.
So I also believe we have to price the things in a way that you make your profit, put your production costs and everything aside. It's not too small, not too, that you can be able to sell things fast. Yeah.
Okay, right. So thank you very much for that as well. I mean, I know somebody who is actually in business, and sometimes some of the comments that she makes me understand that, okay, then this is actually what business is about. You hear her say things like "temtem," you know, so that we can bring some more things. And I think that's exactly what Siam is trying to point to as well. And I think we've also spoken about record keeping, very important. What are some of the common mistakes small businesses make or business owners make when managing money? Apart from the mixing the two, what are some of the other money mistakes that they make? Emmanuel.
Yeah. So apart from mixing personal funds and company funds, I would say, sometimes if you speak to a lot of entrepreneurs in Ghana, they will tell you that sometimes their workers steal from them. So I think that's another big problem that business owners face. And how are the workers able to steal from you when you don't have systems? It's not. You may have all the systems in place, but still, employer comfort they will find a way to go around the systems and then still steal from you. So having a system in place which makes it more difficult for your employees to take funds that they should not be taking is something that entrepreneurs should look into, and what else again? I think, yes, aside that and then mixing money together and then just spending without keeping track of how much, you should have a budget for your business itself.
Yeah.
You should have a monthly budget and even a yearly budget, and then just operate within that. But that's a budget allocation. Don't go beyond it, because sometimes you think that, the money is there, so and I need to do this now. Before you realize the money is gone, the next month is there, and then you don't have money to pay your staff. You don't have money to pay your suppliers, and then it will affect your business.
Right.
Customers don't understand why you're not delivering, and then they are becoming disgruntled, and then they are looking for other brands to get engaged with. So yes, employees stealing, making it more difficult for employees to take money from the business funds, and also monitoring and then keeping track of your budget to ensure that you operate within your budget range. Yes.
Okay.
These are things that employees need to, entrepreneurs need to work on.
All right. Okay. Siami, do you have anything to add to that?
So we end up on credits. We are not able to really keep track of what is going on. By the time the person pays, it's like so that's some of the common mistakes we make. And also another mistake is spending the profit too quickly. Profits kakra. That also brings us back to not separating your company funds or personal funds. So because you have not separated this, you end up spending the profit too quickly. And also no planning. So you are running a business day by day without budgeting or preparing for slow seasons, creating content and all of that. How do I say slow seasons that creates content. So at the end of the day, you don't plan anything. You just you enter into the business and you get some small money, you spend it. And then you sell too much of credit thinking, it's better than not selling at all. It doesn't really make the business flow properly. So these are some common mistakes that we don't really realize. Also, we as a business owner, sometimes I've done something that I had to learn the hard way. You have to be stingy and hard sometimes.
How so?
Because if you're stingy in the slightest thing, way or more, then you go and help the person with the small money you think you have. Sometimes you have to be stingy to help people later, not right now. When you are stingy on money, you are stingy and you are able to keep your record correctly, you'll be able to, manage your business properly. These are some few mistakes that I've made myself that I've realized.
Okay, right. So we're about to get into the new year, and I know that there are so many businesses who are trying to put some plans in place to be able to stay afloat and stay profitable in the coming year. And I believe that whatever we've shared so far is something that will help them greatly. As we're trying to wrap up, our time is up, and so we have to go. But if there are 3 key things that you think that every body who has listened to us this morning should pick or should implement within the shortest time, what would it be? I'll start from Siami, and then I come and end in studio with you, Emmanuel. So Siami, you can go ahead.
Okay, so some key things I would want is there maybe you are yet to start a new business, or maybe you are already into some key things I would like you to pick is be passionate about what you want to do. The energy you move the business. You have to be passionate. Be prepared. Know the field you are going into. Know what you want to go into. Study more about. Don't just enter into what you want to do, feeling that, there's money inside and just enter. Do your research. Then you plan. Because you don't just have to enter the place without knowing what is going on in there. You have to plan the stages. Every quarter, you plan every quarter. Then you have to push. You can't just plan without pushing and sit back and think that, everything is going to work. And then you have to be strategic. You have to be strategic, follow up on clients and all of these things. All these things come together. Then you come to social media. But if you do social media without all these things, without planning, without preparing, without pushing, without being passionate, especially passionate about whatever you do, the energy you put into it, then you are going to fail. So that's what I think. Anybody about to start a new business, or you're already in the business and you have made some mistakes, these are some of the key things you should consider when you are about to start a new business or you are redeciding.
All right. Siami, thank you very much for sharing those. I think I noticed a particular pattern in the final things that you said. I think all of them were peace, planning, preparing, pushing, passion, and all of that. I think that's very good. I like how you put it. Let's wrap up with you, Emmanuel. So what would you also say?
All right. So to be successful in the coming year, I'm hoping that you were able to collect data throughout this year, right? I'm really hoping that you were able to collect data. If you were not able to collect data, then plan and infuse that into your business activities for the next year. That in the next year, starting January, you are going to start collecting data so that at the end of the year or at the end of each month, you can run an assessment on the data you've collected and to be able to understand how well you are performing, whether you are even meeting your targets at all. Aside that, you need to understand your industry, right? Really, really, as you mentioned, you have to do some research and get to understand your industry. Also, get to know your own strengths and your own limitations, your business strengths and your business limitations, and then that will help you understand how you fit into the industry within which you operate, right? Yeah. So you cannot be just operating with a kind of say vibe. You can't operating with vibe. You should be operating with understanding based on your research that you have done, And lastly, obsess over your customers. I've said this here before, and I cannot say that's enough to entrepreneurs. Look, obsess over your customers. After you have collected data and determined what is wrong with your company, after you have made an understanding of your industry and how you fit within the industry based on your resources available to you and your strengths and your weaknesses, it should all come down to obsessing over your customers. I'm glad that Siami was able to obsess over her customers so much so that she came up with a new brand to satisfy a particular group of her customers who didn't have enough funds to purchase the more expensive product that she was selling. That is a brilliant way to do business. I want to end by saying that entrepreneurship is really not for everybody. You need to understand yourself intimately to understand whether you are built for entrepreneurship at all, because it's very difficult. not everybody has the heart to be an entrepreneur. And oftentimes I hear people saying, I hear people, how do you call it, looking down on 9-to-5 workers. But I tell you this, if you're an entrepreneur, the most important resource you will have is going to be your human resource. That is the people that you employ, who help you to carry out your vision. So if everybody is running a business, who is going to be that human resource that is going to help you carry out your mission? So please, if you assess yourself and you are able to determine that, look, me, entrepreneurship is not for me, but I operate very well when I have a structured system to follow. I'm able to follow processes and deliver as is expected of me. Don't force yourself. There are so many people who have wasted money forcing themselves to become entrepreneurs just because they've heard somewhere, some TED talk that, hey, and brother, sister, entrepreneurship is not for everybody. You have to have the heart. It's difficult, it's tough.
Right.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you very much, Emmanuel Ajari. Really grateful that you came this morning to have this conversation. And I mean, I agree with you. Entrepreneurship it's not for everybody. Everybody has where they can operate best and do well. So I'm really grateful that you came. All right. Please do enjoy the rest of your day. And Siami, thank you very much for also joining us. Really grateful.
Thank you very much.
All right. Okay. Please do enjoy the rest of your day. All right. So those were my guests this morning. My guests this morning on the roundtable discussion. We've been talking about how to turn a small business into something that lasts. And Emmanuel Ajari Eje is a general manager at Hypro Marketing and also Hypro Marketing, and Siami is the CEO of Siami Fashion. These are the two individuals who joined me this morning for this conversation. I hope that you picked a thing or two, but thank you so much also for listening right from 6:15 till now. I am really grateful. Please make sure that you put in place some of these things that we've discussed here so that your business can stay afloat and be profitable as we get into the next year. Well, that's how we wrap up today. My name is Nature B. Hammond. We'll be back again tomorrow for more interesting conversations. Thank you very much, DJ Wade, for being with us, and thanks to the production team as well. Please keep listening to Z101.9 FM. And when you think Ghana, think Z. Up next is The Brighter Side with Jeremy Okorie Amwako. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.